Yeah.
Just enough to roll up the windows.
Yeah, of course.
The valley makes its own weather here. You can't depend on radar or Jim Cantori or anybody else.
You have to be your own weather person.
Best thing to do is go out and look up the sky.
Yeah. And if a raindrop hits you in the eye, then you know it's rain.
That's pretty much it. The
I
radar
think,
was actually pretty accurate this time. It showed that little storm. It started out like a little kidney bean south of here. It was coming right towards us. And then did a little flip flop. Kind of went around, did another flip flop, went around again, kept right on and getting me. Like I say, we got about 10 drops on the windshield.
yeah, it's like the weather rock. You know, if the rock is wet, you know it's raining. If it's white, you know it's snowing. If it's
Yep.
hot, if it's warm, you know that it's sunshine on it.
My immediate thing must be down. You check it.
What, your volume down again?
I think it is. Seems to be.
Did we find it?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's down. I can hear you.
Okay, well that's good. Because
Much better.
your pictures froze up.
Wait a minute.
Got plenty of juice. There you go.
Oh, yeah, we juiced up.
We
Lots of
mean
juice.
mean charge the phone. No. Being
Yeah.
juiced up used to mean that you were drunk.
Nope, none of that here.
Sarah.
No.
I forgot to open. I forgot to open. Oh, hey, cool.
Joe,
Later.
what do you need to open? There's
Uh,
Sam. Hi, Sam.
well, I need to open a YouTube so that I have the YouTube chat up too. So, hi, Sam.
Yeah, he probably should since I only have StreamYard.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
So did you put the join us link in tonight? Anybody might want to click on it.
Okay, let's see here. And then, all these blasted. You got this emoji thing in the way. There,
It's posted.
oh no, shoot, I can't do it from here. I have to go do it. I have to go do it from Mad Republic. I can't do it from over here.
I'll say it's in there, it's just not a link.
Mad Republic. I can't do it from over here.
What? I'll say it's in there.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, that was different.
Let's see. The chat's still not working.
You got some lurkers. We love our lurkers.
Yeah, this browser just updated and it still says it's not working. All right, so we'll go. Where are we going to go?
We're going to have a free for all night, folks. Sunday night free for all. We used to call free for all on the radio. We did internet radio.
Yeah.
And post the link, and then everybody can join in with us. If you want to come on camera with us or just in the chat, whatever. First talk while you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure something out here.
Once you figure that out, we'll go ahead and
I'll just have to post it every once in a while because only the owner of the channel can pin it, and that's on Edge, and Edge is not showing a chat, which is stupid, but I don't know. some of the stuff some of the browsers do is beyond my pay grade.
Out of your lane, huh?
While it kind of is, it's just above my pay grade.
Thought you did it on StreamYard.
No.
Sam.
No, you get the link from StreamYard, but you have to post it in the chat in YouTube. Oh,
Right.
wait a minute. Maybe I could do it.
Do it the other way.
Maybe I can do it this way. No, because I can't pin it. Oh, never mind. I'll spend the whole hour trying to figure it out, and I still won't figure it out.
That sounds like Donnie coming down.
Well, he hasn't been for a visit in a couple days because you were here, so.
Yeah, he was here yesterday. A little bit.
Well, that's cool. But had a really cool email today from Jared. And
Yeah, that was good read, yeah.
So we had a really cool, it was, he was just concerned because we hadn't been on for a couple of days. They're just, we're doing some things here around the house and time would get away from us in the evening. So we just weren't on for a day or two. But now we're back up and running again.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep 2 different job sites going at the same time. We think we're doing pretty good with a crew of 1.
Yeah.
So it's all good. I'd like to be on 2 or 3 hours every day, but there just ain't enough hours in the day.
No. I'm getting so I have to make myself notes of stuff I want to do.
Yeah. Well, I've been making notes. I just lose them. I can't find them. You see my notes lately?
That's why I put them on Post-it notes so I can stick them places.
Mine don't have any sticky left, I guess. They keep blowing off.
You have to use a piece of Gorilla Tape.
We're going to have to get stock and Gorilla Tape to keep on.
Yes. Yes, we need stock and Gorilla Tape.
Stuff's holding one of our vehicles together.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. And I'm
Been
sure
holding together for 8 years.
I see for freedom.
Actually, 10 years. It's 13.
No, that happened when we were together out in California. That was
Well,
15.
no, I had Gorilla Tape on the roof and stuff before you ever got started.
That's right. The thing on the roof kept flapping.
And the fender.
Yeah, and the fender. Well, that happened.
I put about 5 different applications of Gorilla Tape on that fender.
Yeah, we were out in California and we're pulled out of the truck stop and we're going out up the road and toward the interstate and I could hear this noise. It's like, what? It sounds like the car's falling apart. It's like, what is this noise? So we pulled off on the entrance ramp to the freeway. And luckily it was one of the great big wide ones with plenty of room and great big shoulder with, everybody could get by if they needed to. And we get out of the car and hear the pins that hold those plastic fenders on those had broke. So here we are on the side of the entrance ramp with the Gorilla Tape.
Well, it was like 40-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, taping the plastic
Cold.
wheel cover fender back on.
Like 45 degrees and 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, and we were in Northern California. We weren't in sunny Southern California.
You got that? Actually, you got that on video. I've watched the video before. With me
Oh,
out trying to get the tape on while you sitting inside the bug.
so we can attest to the power of Gorilla Tape.
Oh yeah. It should have the rightful title of 1,000-mile-an-hour tape.
Yeah. Hi, Michael Dolan. Hi,
It's lasting
Shirlene.
a lot more than that. Hey, yeah, I see for Freedom come in, and Charlene, Michael.
Good to see everybody.
Good to see everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're just got started, just sitting around jawing, waiting to see how many's going to show up. It's a quiet sunny night in camp. We had a little thunder boomer roll by, but we only got 10 drops of rain out of it, as usual. There's Slim.
Hi,
And Debbie.
Slim.
Good to see everybody, Debbie and Slim, and jumped right up there.
But gonna couple Jiminy Christmas, cover a couple.
What?
I know, just washing my mouth and can't do a thing with it. But
I think you need a little bit of Bob. That's some Bob.
no, it'd probably make it worse. But a little different besides Johnny tonight. We're gonna a little bit from a newsletter from the National Center for Constitutional Studies. They always put out a newsletter about once a month or so. And the topic of this one is, what does all men are created equal mean? And I found it to be interesting. It's always interesting to get somebody's point of view who considers themselves not an expert, but somebody that studies or is a scholar of the Constitution. It's really hard to say that.
I see Jared.
Hi, Jared.
Hi, Jared.
An expert on something, because you have to continually study and do your due diligence and keep up with things because people are always coming up with new opinions about what they think a certain phrase, because the way the English language has changed from over the centuries makes it hard for people in the modern world to translate out. And there are people who spend their whole lives studying Middle English and High English and Low English, and so they so that they think they know what somebody meant when they wrote something. The founders
just have to talk hillbilly English.
Yeah. The founders wrote in the Declaration of Independence that some truths are self-evident. One of these truths is that all men are created equal. Yet everyone knows that no two human beings are exactly alike in any respect. They are different when they are born. They plainly exhibit different natural skills. They acquire different taste. They develop along different lines. They vary in physical strength, mental capacity, emotional stability, inherited social status, and in scores of other ways. If people are so different, how can they be equal? The answer is they can't. They can only be treated as equals according to the laws of nature and by extension under our written laws. For example, gravity has the same effect on the old as the young, rich and poor, etc. If a person disregards the laws of gravity, he will likely be injured or killed. Just like gravity, if the laws of nature treat everyone equally, the laws of men should also treat everyone equally. It is important to note that natural law does not demand equality in outcome, only equality under the law. It is in this way that all men are created equal. The task of society is to accept people in all their vast array of individual differences, but treat them as equals in the way nature intended them to be equal. As the Constitution writer Clarence Carson explained, two kinds of equality, so far as individuals are concerned, are treated in the Declaration of Independence. First, there is equality before the law. This means that every man's case is tried by the same law governing any particular case. Practically, it means that there are no different laws for different classes or orders of men. The definition of premeditated murder is the same for the millionaire as for the tramp. A corollary of this is that no classes are created or recognized by law. Second, the Declaration refers to an equality of life. Each man is equally entitled to his life with every other man. Each man has an equal title to God-given liberties along with every other. John Adams was in France when Jean-Jacques Rousseau was teaching that all men were designed to be equal in every way. And then Adams wrote that all men are born to equal rights is true. Every being has a right to his own, as clear, as moral, as sacred as any other being has. But to teach that all men are born with equal powers and faculties, to equal influence in society, to equal property and advantages through life, is as gross a fraud, as glaring an imposition on the credulity of the people as ever was practiced by monks, by druids, by Brahmins, by priests or the immortal Lama, or by the self-styled philosophers of the French Revolution. Nevertheless, there are some who insist that people do not have equal rights unless they have equal things. It is interesting that when the laws of men attempt to make people equal in ways they are not naturally intended to be, those laws violate one or more of the natural ways that we are intended to be equal. For example, if Steve has $10 and Rex has $20, and you wanted to make them equal in wealth, you will pass a law to force Rex to give $5 to Steve. Now they each have $15. Are they equal? Perhaps in money, but that law makes them unequal in their rights and under the law because Steve's property of $10 was protected more than Rex's property of $20. They are unequal under the law because the law favored Steve over Rex. Steve was more than happy with this arrangement, to be sure. He had just gained things. Did he lose his equality under the law and in his rights? Seemingly no. And what if Fred, who has no money, is introduced into the scenario and the law requires they be equal in things? In obedience to the law, Steve and Rex each give $5 to Fred. All three now have $10. They are equal in things, but Steve discovered that although he temporarily gained things because he was not equally protected in his rights and under the law, he lost his newly acquired property of $5. And how could he protest now when he did not protest from the beginning? When we attempt to use force to make ourselves equal in ways nature did not intend for us to be equal, the penalty will be inequality in ways nature did intend for us to be equal. Over 2,000 years ago, Marcus Tullius Cicero attempted to save the Roman Republic from falling into an emperorship by pleading with his listeners to stay with natural law as opposed to man-made ruler's law. He explained man-made law should always conform to the laws of nature. True law is right reason in agreement with nature. It is of universal application, unchanging and everlasting. It summons to duty by its commands and averts from wrongdoing by its prohibitions. It is a sin to try to alter this law, nor is it allowable to repeal any part of it, and it is impossible to abolish entirely. We cannot be freed from its obligation by Senate or people, and we need not look outside ourselves for an expounder or interpreter of it. And there will not be different laws at Rome and Athens, or different laws now and in the future, but one eternal and unchangeable law will be valid for all nations and all times, and there will be one master and ruler, and that is God, over us all, for he is the author of this law, its promulgator, and its enforcing judge. Whoever is disobedient is fleeing from himself and denying his human nature, and by reasons of this very fact he will suffer the worst penalties, even if he escapes what is commonly considered punishment. Natural law summons to duty by its commands. If we are hungry, we work to obtain food. Hunger is the command, work is the duty. Natural law averts from wrongdoing by its prohibitions. We avoid eating poisonous food because they make us sick. Those simple absolutes are the same regardless of the year or century, irrespective of race or creed. And if we try to flee from it, we will suffer even more. The founders looked upon natural law as the governing force of the universe and everything within it. William Blackstone, the principal authority of English common law of that day, stated the generally accepted idea that when the universe came into existence, there were certain principles that controlled all matter. He went on to say that this orderly arrangement of the universe is called the law of nature, and that there are laws for human nature just as surely as they exist for the rest of the universe. This is what Thomas Jefferson was referring to in the Declaration of Independence when he wrote, "And to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them." Blackstone further stated that man, considered as a creature, must necessarily be subject to the laws of his creator. This will of his maker is called the law of nature. The law of nature being coeval with mankind and dictated by God himself is of course superior in obligation to any other. It is binding over the globe in all countries and at all times. No human laws are of any validity if contrary to this. In addition to Blackstone and Cicero's comments about natural laws, consistency through all times and people, John Locke believed that humankind has an obligation to treat others equally according to natural law. The state of nature has a law of nature to govern it, which teaches all mankind who will but consult it, that being all equal and independent, no one ought to harm another in his life, health, liberty, or possessions, and being furnished with like faculties, sharing all in one community of nature, there cannot be supposed any such subordination among us that may authorize us to destroy one another. If we desire stability in government and good human relations, we should consider natural laws first. The conditions are clear. If the laws of nature treat everyone equally, our civil laws should also treat everyone equally. Simply put, all laws should be for all the people all the time. Written laws that exclude certain groups of people, laws that grant privileges exclusively to one group, laws that protect the rights of some but not others, or laws that take from some to give to others, are a violation of the natural laws of equality under the law. Those laws may seek to level the playing field in outcomes, but the result is a society where citizens are not equal under the law. When the words "all men are created equal" were penned in 1776, society was certainly not living that truth. Fortunately, because they created a vision of what could be, we have come much closer to that ideal in our day. It is now up to us to carry that vision to fruition.
To fruition. To complete the task.
What task is that?
You said to complete to fruition.
Oh, to fruition, yes. To take it to its natural ending.
That's it.
When something comes to fruition, it bears fruit. So you take it to its natural conclusion.
Yep.
Yes, well, and as C4 said, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and all those other buttons.
Yes, please. Yeah, I got to see it, Jared. Or she read it for us. She just read it earlier, I think, before you came on, too.
Oh, I didn't read it on air, but I read it to you and Dustin.
Oh, that's right. You just mentioned it on the air. That's right. That's right. And I guess being Sunday night, I got a little something I want to talk about. Something that everybody keeps talking about, how we need to wake people up. We need to wake people up. And for the regulars here, I know you've heard me say it before, that it's already too late to be waking people up. And what I mean by that is the fact that there's been somebody trying to wake somebody else up since 1791. And the fact that we're here today still trying to wake people up means that we're way behind. Whenever I say something like it's too late to wake people up, that doesn't mean to stop. It's every effort is important, regardless of what it is, or whether the timing's right, whatever. The idea of waking somebody up is getting them to believe something that is completely out of their realm of belief. And the reason that it's so hard for people to understand what they need to wake up to is because of something else you hear me talk a lot about, which is the distractions that have been laid upon us by the leaders of our society. And now it's not just the leaders, it is also media, and it's also the internet, the platforms, the people that own the different platforms. I'm not even going to bother naming them. Everybody knows what they are. This is all a distraction. 10,000 radio or 10,000 channels on satellite and TV and cable TV, the reality TV. I mean, you can sit and talk about a list of distractions till the cows come home. And the fact is, every single one of them is why it's so hard for people like us to get people that need to be awoken to pay attention, let alone take time to study what it is we're trying to explain to them. Because it's not just something where you can walk up to somebody and say, hey, you know, the word federal was used on purpose in the word Federal Reserve Banking System in order for us to believe that it was part of the federal government. I've said that 1 million times to 1 million people, or it seems that many, and I get the same response every time.
Well,
oh, really? And it goes, oh, really? Imagine that. And then on to the next subject.
Well, whether it's
it doesn't go in, it just doesn't penetrate.
whether it's 1791 or 2091, it's the same reason. There's always something to distract you. In 1791, it was survival.
Right.
That was a distraction. But the more modern gadgets and whatnot that we got, soon it was, okay, radio. Oh, we have to listen to Charlie McCarthy every Sunday night on the radio. We have to listen to Lawrence Welk on the radio. And
Right. Now let's just bump it up another notch. Let's say something else that I tell people a lot, and most people just give me a blank stare, is the fact that the military allows us to use the internet. The internet was designed and created for the military. And believe it or not, Al Gore didn't do it. It wasn't Al Gore.
Well, he doesn't have two brain cells to rub together, so,
But, we have to laugh a little bit to keep from crying, because that's a fact. And the internet has been placed upon us as a negative, not a positive. As much as it is positive, and it is, I'm all over the internet myself, and it is a lot of positive stuff about it. There's a lot of positive things you can do. There's, ways to keep in touch with people we never had before, so on and so forth. But we got to be willing to pay that price, and that price includes lack of privacy and to be submitted to internet, which is something that can be turned off at a moment's notice. So let's say it is only there as a distraction. If that's the only reason they turned it on to the public was because of this so-called conspiracy theory, which I used to hear that a lot when I talk like I am right now. What if that's the only reason they let us use it was for a distraction? If that's the case, then eventually they're going to turn the petri dish off. The experiment will be over. They'll turn the internet off. And guess what? Bill Gates will get his wish with depopulation. Because if you take the internet away from the majority of the newest generation, I don't imagine most of their minds are going to be able to take it. I mean, you're going to have a lot of minds melting right on the spot. If they can't use their cell phone, if they can't open their laptop, if they can't turn on their smart TV or get inside their smart home. Imagine that.
Well, and, you have to, they say, well, we use the internet to keep ourselves better informed. We have instantaneous information, but
redundance is what it's called. Redundance.
And the way that it's presented as a distraction because it's presented as sensationalism. It's not presented as news.
Right.
And it's also twisted to a point of view.
An opinion.
It's not news, it's an opinion. It's not facts. They took a fact and then added their own opinion to it. So It's no longer news or a fact. It is their opinion on that fact.
Well, there's two places. If we have any chance here of making this the republic it needs to be, there's two things that need to happen. Number one, the people in Hollywood need to understand that we don't want to hear what they have to say about their politics or their religion or anything else. The people in Hollywood are being paid billions of dollars to entertain us, and that's it. We don't need to know anything else. Same way with rock stars and all these other, the musical people and everybody else that has an opinion about what they think. If you are in a position where you're entertaining us, just like the football players, the basketball players, all the professional sports, all of a sudden they all want us to know what their political position is. And I don't care. I'm tuning them in to be entertained, not to understand what their political position is. That is a major problem.
Well, they think because they're a well-known face that they have a right to tell us how to live.
You're right, Jared. It is scary that I'm going to say somewhere between a half and 3/4. I'll agree with your 3/4, but I got to say it's probably somewhere between a half and 3/4 because it's not quite as scary as it used to be because back in the day, 10, 15, 20 years ago when I was talking like I am now, first of all, most people weren't even paying attention. The ones that were paying attention were trying to figure out what they were going to say next instead of what I was saying. So, it's just the old phrase, beating a dead horse kind of comes to mind.
Well, we still haven't learned the art of listening or relearned how to listen.
I'm going to say you might have a mouse in your pocket. I've worked on it pretty tough.
Because we're so busy to get to the next Facebook post or the next email or the next tweet or the next Instagram picture that we still don't stop to listen. Before we didn't listen because we were thinking up the next thing we want to say, but now we're trying to get back to our favorite distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not listening to what the person you're sitting across from is saying.
Well, it's a matter of just like the reason I had this idea is because of two gentlemen that sat one booth away from us at breakfast this morning. And they were very loud in their speech where we could understand pretty much everything they said, even though the breakfast table or the breakfast crowd was busy. And they just kept talking about all of the things that everybody talks about, but nobody does anything about. They kept talking about the problem with Hunter and all the things with the White House and Biden. And then they talked about the border and then everything's covered. And that's what didn't make any sense to me because it's just about people talking. Talking is not going to save the republic. Doing things is going to save the republic. Building a campground is a good start. Going to D.C. for the right reasons is a good start. If you're going to D.C. to protest, you're wasting your time. But if you're going to D.C. to get a chance to talk to somebody that might make a difference, that's something else.
Yeah, visit your Congress people or your senator, or work on a campaign of a candidate that you'd like to see get into office, whether it's on a local level, a state level, or a federal level.
Well, it's funny you said it that way because this morning on OAN, there was a person on with Tara, one of our favorite news people. And that's what they were saying was that it's got to start at the county level with your sheriff's department. People don't know what to do to get involved to save the republic. That's the easiest place to do it is your county courthouse. Go in and introduce yourself to your sheriff and his deputies or her deputies, depending on what the case is. And get to know your local politicians, get to know your law enforcement people, your first responder people. Go spend a little bit of time at one of your volunteer fire departments. Check it out. You get to know some of the people that might save your house someday.
Well, your local people are in contact with your state people because of their budgets. Mm-hmm. So they're constantly going to seminars and meetings and on the phone with their state people. Well, the state people are doing the same thing, but they're doing it on a federal level. So if you've got your local people that you want in, then you get your local people on the state level that you want in, then you've got your foot in the door at the federal level. So
Jared's right on with that one.
Yeah, so you can't say it doesn't do any good on, it's just little fish. Well, little steps lead to big steps. And it's, like that pebble rolling down the hill that keeps picking up speed and picking up debris. And eventually, by the time it gets to the bottom of the hill, it's a pretty good sized boulder. So if you get support each step of the way through your local, through your county, through your state, through your, to your senators and representatives, then yes, you're making progress.
That's it exactly, Sam. You nailed it right there. We need to have our state strong enough where they don't need federal funding. That's where the federal government has us over a barrel.
When that was something that we read in Johnny Liberty's book. We read that from his book, saying if the states are that's how the states lost their sovereignty, by becoming dependent on the federal government
Yep.
for the funding.
Then you add in the government, the federal government, like things that the entitlements, that's the word I'm trying to think of. You put together the entitlements with what you're talking about, and you have a federal government that's out of control, plain and simple.
Well, it used to be, okay, we turn on the Weather Channel and we hear tornadoes, floods, some kind of natural disaster, blah, blah, blah. We're waiting on FEMA. We're waiting on the feds. We're waiting on. Used to be that when there was none of those things, the community took care of the community. They didn't sit around and wait for the federal government, for FEMA or Red Cross, or people took care of their own communities. And that's why they always said that people that lived in the country were clannish and standoffish, because they took care of themselves and their friends and, the people that lived in the town, and the churches were a big part of that. And so, everybody took care of themselves.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at what you're saying. What you're talking about just made me think of something that happened this morning. That was this morning, right? Guy at the gate.
Yeah.
Is that this morning?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure before I tell the story. You're talking about clannish and in the rural areas. I got to tell on this guy. We're sitting there this morning doing coffee and outside, enjoying the morning air. And we hear a gravel, which everybody knows camp. Gravel means somebody's coming down the driveway. The only problem is it seems to be taking a lot longer than normal from the first time we heard it to the time we got to the gate. And of course, when he come by the clear spot, we realized it wasn't Sam or somebody we knew. It was a little red car. And he got to the gate. And of course, the gate was open. We had already had it open for the morning. And when he got to the gate, he stopped. And he just sit there for about 30 seconds. And then we hear this voice say, DoorDash. Like, okay. So I get up and start walking towards the gate. And he starts driving in real easy through the gate. He gets in about 2 car lengths in. And I get over pretty close to the car. And he's like, is this Pershing Court? I said, no, that's up on the mountain. Everybody gets that wrong. I said, this is a private driveway. It's a little black guy, okay? And he's probably early 20s. And he just came by 2 great big signs that say no trespassing into a gate with a whole lot of flags flying, and not all of them are American flags. And he said, I think I'm in the wrong place. I said, well, yeah, you are, but it's easy to find. I gave him the directions. Said, back out, turn left, go up to the stop sign, go straight through. Pershing's on the left, da-da-da-da-da. He starts to roll his window up, and he stops rolling his window up, and he says, well, I didn't mean to be in, how do you say it, Dustin?
Trespass on your shit.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to trespass on your, well, I used the word shit, but of course I just said, hey, no problem. But then when I got back over to Dustin, I said, wonder what he thought. Because it was obviously, physical, or what am I trying to think of? Visually very nervous because of the signs and the way camp looked.
Yeah.
So when he said that word I'm not going to say again, that's like I told Dustin, we got a good laugh. Wonder what he'd done if I'd have took off running and walked back behind him and slammed the gate shut. And then walked up and said, what do you mean, that word? Oh yeah, it's one of those you almost had to be there, but it was
Yeah.
hilarious. They'll be talking about that on Thanksgiving for years to come. That place at the end of the road where he went past two no trespassing.
Yeah.
Bruce, the guy that looks tired.
Yeah, a wiry dude and a Brutus guy.
Well, he'd say, well, that no trespassing didn't apply to me. I was making a delivery.
Oh no! He was taking it fully serious. He was probably taking it pretty serious all the way down the driveway after coming through Deville. And then he was obviously shaking because he had to go back through Deville to get out.
Yeah, that black cat sitting in the middle of the road.
He was real happy I let him turn around in the parking lot. Yeah, I thought I'd share that. That was a good laugh for the morning. Yeah, Sam, that was it. He figured he was one of them gun-toting cults.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm glad you're here, Charlene. I got to admit something. I wasn't able to catch up to the listings that you sent till just last, what was it, Friday,
Yeah.
Thursday or so. So I looked at them. A lot of them have really good potential, and we need to talk. We'll just put it that way. That's the only way I get a chance to talk to her.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's busy. Busy.
We only have our usual 15 people in here, so it's not like we're letting out any secrets.
No.
He didn't give us a chance to see for freedom. He was busy turning around real quick. He had the window up by the time he headed out.
Well, yeah, he didn't want people's supper to get cold. He had to get to where he needed to be.
Yep. Well, it's amazing how many people. I don't know why they come down here. If they got the same kind of GPS I do, it has a little blue line on the road, which should show that it goes past this driveway or farther up the road. And then they got to make a turn off of Buck Hill Road on the Pershing. It's plain and simple. They just don't look at their map. They don't open their map up far enough to see the area. They just go right to where I guess the little voice says.
Instead of turning left or turning right in 1,500 feet, they just turn right.
Yeah. Well, like I said, mine has a little blue line on it, so it's kind of hard to screw up.
Yeah.
The only way it screws up is if crack core gives you bad direction.
Oh, that's been known to happen. So.
She always leads you off to the worst part of town, too.
Yeah.
Crack core.
Through the skinniest little alleys she can find that you may or may not fit through.
Right.
Yes, Jared, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Print them up and give them out. Sure. That'd be excellent. And we're going to be putting a lot more stuff in the store. There's going to be some collector stuff showing up. So if you're a collector of anything, you might want to be keeping an eye out for. I don't even want to get started on the list. Let's see. Hot Wheels, marbles, old books, old records, old CDs, new CDs, old cassettes, new cassettes.
Yeah, I still need to. I think I found the box of marbles. They just got shoved under the stand in the living room.
Yeah, I think that's where it was. We got marbles that date all the way back to the handmade clay marbles that parents made for their kids out of clay and stuck them in the oven for a little while or on the stove or whatever. Got them hot. And they're still as good today as when they were made, probably 100 plus years ago.
Yeah. Well, now that I know where they are, I can get them out and start looking at some of them. Ouch.
We have some real collectors in that batch because we got some of them most of them off of Waffles.
Yeah.
And yes,
We,
believe it or not, there are people that collect marbles.
we got a lot of them off people that just wanted to get rid of them too.
Well, that's the thing with Waffles. People win stuff and then they just put it back up and re-waffle it.
Yeah.
Got to make a little more money on it. We're going to have to get started on that. I don't know how many of our folks admit to being on Facebook, but that's the easiest place to do it. Especially if you want a crowd. Somehow I got back on every one of the ones that I was on 4 years ago, because they just keep sending me notifications on their live shows all of a sudden. I'm getting like a dozen different ones. And if you like doing little mini auctions where you have a prize wheel that has total random picking, Waffles are a cool place to be because some of them have really nice coins. There's one guy that's doing gold ingots. I can show you where to go if you want to put your name down and pay a little bit of money for a spot to possibly win a gold ingot. Hey, there's Mama Jan.
Hi, Mama Jan.
Oh, up camping. Good deal.
No, she was already all practiced up.
Yep. He's all ready for that. Miss you too, for sure. Glad you could join us. Yeah, Debbie, those are the kind that is actually worth money nowadays. The ones are from like the 60s and 70s, 50s, and so yeah, the cat's eyes. Your shooters, some of your big shooters are worth lots of money. Kind of crazy, but it's true. We have anybody likes old books. We have a serious collection of old books. We have some that are from the late 1800s up through the early 1900s. Most are in good to excellent condition.
Some of them from the days when they wrote them out by hand and typeset each letter, and each book was printed separate.
What's the oldest one we got? That's at a Columbian Almanac, isn't it? Like, what is it, 1809?
Yeah, something like that.
Now, you want to talk about something cool. This thing, the cover of it is animal hide. Not sure what kind of animal, but it's a leather cover. It's small. It's like a pocket-sized book. And it's a Columbian Almanac. And it says right in the front of it, it's in excellent condition, especially for its age. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, 1809.
Yeah, it's hand bound with twine.
We'll have to get it up and look at the date on it again. So yeah, we have a lot of different ones. If you're into novels, the old novels from the 40s and 50s, we got a lot of those.
In the early 1900s, late 1800s.
Yeah, we got a hold of a guy's book collection. Must have been a pretty serious library they had in the house. And a lot of the books we got moved because we just did boxes of books because they were fairly modern. But we still have all the old books. Probably everything from like the 50s back, or the 40s.
Yeah, we have some that are in German and Latin. Books that are treatises from the Catholic Church. They were very devout Catholics and have a lot of antique manuscripts written about the Catholic Church and for the Catholic Church.
Yeah, and then we have quite a few books that are in Latin.
Yeah.
Different ages.
Yeah, before they doing the mass and stuff in English.
All of that stuff, and we have a lot of stuff that has been sent to us from great contributors that's all going to be available. Ms. Q is going to be busy putting touches on the store, on and on, always. A little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah, and I meant to write down, Mama Jan, what is the process that what's it called when you made these? I know it has to do with paint, but I can't remember what you called it. So just drop me a line and let me know what this process is called.
That's getting ready to eat dinner.
Well,
I'm almost ready for my midnight snack.
it's only 7 o'clock there, so have
Yeah,
fun.
I'm glad you got a chance to get out camping. That's great.
Yeah, but remember, you're not the top of the food chain out there, so be careful.
Well, it fills my heart to see you too, Jared, and know that families around you watching too. That's huge for me. Mom's getting watermelon. Good deal.
Yeah, it's a good time of year. Lots of nice fresh fruit and melons.
Oh, yeah. You're talking to somebody that's living in the middle of Apple Valley. What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
So thank everybody that's been with us this evening. We
Gotta be
appreciate
careful with that fresh fruit, though.
Yeah. We
Don't want to
appreciate
get too much.
we appreciate your support each and every time that we're on the air. And
Absolutely.
it's our schedule is very touch and go at the moment, but we're here as much as we can be.
Well, I think I like the 9 o'clock thing because we used to do radio at 9.
Yeah.
So maybe get back to that. And unless it's some kind of special show or special announcement, you can figure on being live at 9 instead of 10.
Or trying to.
When we're on, I mean, we're going to try to be on as much as possible because we love y'all as much as you love us. That's the best part about it. We're all Patriot family here.
So
What? I heard him that time, see?
so everybody be safe, be blessed.
Not in the dark.
More later.
More later. Love you, bye.
Love you. Bye.